we'd like to welcome you to our video, our newborn little girl, baby Annalise. This is
I wanted to make this documentary today because I have lived in the FIFO life for so long that I've developed this sudden curiosity to seek out other families in this lifestyle but have different perspectives. I want to know if the different ways these families live helps or hinders their ability to cope with the lifestyle, or if it is more personality based, like if you have a strong personality or not. Also, the fact that this line of work has grown more prevalent in Western Australian family life in the last decade or so.
My name is Dr. Greer Bradbury. I'm a clinical psychologist. The key finding in my research is that the FIFO lifestyle provided a unique stressor, therefore it added strain to the family. So key areas that came up was about a family working together, talking together, and being open about not only the positives but also the negatives of this really quite unique lifestyle, because you have a family that goes from a single family household when the FIFO work is away then back and to a dual family.
When you were researching to go into the job, what were the positives and negatives of starting FIFO?
Positives, the money. Negatives,
yeah, the negative.
Corey being away.
Yeah, missing out more on your family, because having two young children sort of made it where if you go away for 2 weeks and then you're home for a week, a lot of things change within that 2 weeks when you're away. So there's the routines of home life when you're there.
Positives, was the money. It was good money. Also that I was able to spend a week at a time at home, uninterrupted time, big chunks, which allowed me to get things done, do things with my family that I wasn't able to do a lot before. The negatives of it is that I'm away for 2/3 of the year from my family.
Were accidents, around that thing that worried you happening to you, like falling down the hole? Or
no, because when you're working there, obviously they have a lot of procedures and all that in regards to how far you can be away from the drill rigs and all that sort of stuff. So we're not actually allowed to be near the drill rig while it's drilling. Our role was the drill rig had to be shut down when we had finished, and the size of the drill hole, I think, was only about 250 mil or something like that. So you can't actually, the only way you could fall down the hole is if you tripped, like your foot would get caught in it. That's it. It's not big enough for you to put your whole body down there.
We have had the conversation that, make sure you take all safety precautions. Your family's at home, we need you home, kind of thing. So yeah, he doesn't cut any corners and stuff like that, and he knows how important safety is up there to ensure that he does come home to us.
What was the differences you could feel when you were alone on the mine, versus next to your wife, sleeping or being alone at night?
This might sound strange actually, but when you're away, you're in a single. I'm not even sure if it's even a king size bed, I suppose, but it's only a single bed. It's not very comfortable. It's a room that you it would almost feel like almost like a prison, sort of. And then so you do that day in, day out, and then when you come home, you get a nice comfy bed and you've got somebody to talk to at the end of the night, see
Just
how
comfort.
Yeah, comfort. It's a good word for it.
You can feel quite lonely sometimes. spending the whole, you spend the whole night by yourself. There's not a lot of interaction or with other people on site. I might have a phone call to the family, which sometimes makes it worse because then I start thinking about actual family and not being there if I'm just by myself.
He has missed a lot of things. He's missed his first steps, starting to talk and stuff like that. Just really, we've just got to make sure we take lots of videos and FaceTimes, and when he is home it's just strictly family time, so he doesn't get to see his friends and stuff like that because he sacrifices that just to make sure he spends all his free time with us. He was lucky enough he was home for the birth of our son. He flew back away to work 4 days after I had him.
Does he notice when your partner's away? Does he act up or throw tantrums or?
My partner usually leaves for work, when he goes back away he'll leave at 3 o'clock in the morning and stuff. So he will wake up and he's like, oh, daddy, daddy, and realise that dad's gone. So he'll get a little bit sooky for that day. When my phone rings, he knows that it's dad. So he'll, bring the phone to me and be like, oh, daddy, daddy. So yeah, he kind of knows when dad rings and when dad's gone. At the beginning, when my partner would first come home, he really did feel like that, and it did become quite a big issue with him feeling like our son loves me more kind of thing. So we've really just had to sit down and talk about it. And so now Anwar and Onyx go out and have father-son days where I'm not there and stuff like that, just so they can bond one-on-one. So he still does have that bond with him and I.
What was your main reasoning for quitting?
Main reasoning was the boys were getting to an age where they're becoming more and more of a handful for Alicia, so it was time to sort of really come back home.
And I couldn't handle it.
What is something you would have wanted to ask me back when you were researching that you think I was probably too young to answer then?
Well, knowing that now that you lied
exactly.
about how
and
you
that too.
felt, how did you feel?
I hated it.
Why?
I didn't know what he did specifically, so I didn't know if he was near the blasts or a hole that was really big that he could fall into. So him dying away was a really big fear of mine. I remember that sometimes I probably made it hard for my mum because I didn't want her to put me to bed. I wanted dad to put me to bed and he wasn't there.
No. Do you feel like you've missed part of a childhood that you may have had if you'd had both parents at home? Or
when I was at school, my routine would always be when I got up, dad was already gone. Even if he was in the office, he would wake up at 6 a.m. and leave, where I woke up at 7:30. Mum would wake up at the same time as me, leave before me. So going to school was by myself. When I came home in the afternoon, it was me for 3 or 4 hours before mum got home. So it was a lot of time by myself.
It was really sad that you were like that and I didn't help.
Well, I'm a very keep it in, bottle it up emotional person. So I had depression for years and my mum didn't even know. So, that's how much I would keep him stuff. I feel like the worst is behind us kind of thing. The fact, we got to a point where we went and got help, and now we're kind of at a stage where, we're good. And we know how to cope with things, and I'm a negative thinker, but now I know to look more to the positive side of things so I can turn it around. That makes it a lot easier. Time flies when dad's away. you know, I don't notice him being away as long anymore. I've come to a spot where I remember going to as a child with my mum and dad, and I just have been sitting here reflecting on things, and I never used to be scared of being alone or not having friends. I was a kid, I used to just be able to make friends because, you know, it's just so easy to make friends when you're a child, but I don't think this fear would be as big or embedded in my brain if, you know, I didn't have this aspect to my life. Everyone's scared of being alone. Some people aren't. But I seriously think that's what kind of led to my depression and what has gotten me out of my depression as well. When I went to uni, my biggest fear was not being able to make friends for this entire 2 years, and, you know, I love being in class and hearing the geeky rants that the guys will go on, or just the back and forth that we'll have in class, or the friendship that we've made for our class. The fact that I can ask someone to help me to make this documentary, and they have, you know, that kind of friendship is not something I've been used to having, and it means the world to me that I can have that. I think that is seriously why I feel less lonely now when Dad goes away. You know, I started work, and when I go to work I have friends. You know, I've made friends with, you know, my workmates, and, you know, so much so that one of them was actually in this documentary, and my dad still leaves. That's the one thing that has stayed the same. You know, it's gonna be that while for a little more, I think. But honestly, I'm grateful for it in a way, because I've learnt to live through that loneliness, and even though I'm still afraid of it, I think I am more grateful for the friends that I will make. That's a good effect from this life, I guess. I know to cherish things, and I know not to let things pass as easily, even when it doesn't look like I'm actually paying attention. I see him!
Annalise, how many years have we been at this traffic light? 227 and a half.
Just how people collect small change for years.